I'm Edvardi Jackson, and there's the closing bell after yet another day of trading at the stock market. Today, the Dow finished with a loss of 430 points. The Nasdaq is down by 250. Now the latest from the World Telegram News.
Transparent, truthful, timeless. This is the World Telegram News Radio on 91.3 FM, WBNY Buffalo.
It's February 7th, 2025. I'm Ashton Renna.
And I'm Edvardi Jackson. Here's what we're following.
I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
Just after 2 weeks and 4 days, articles of impeachment have been filed against President Donald Trump. Governor Hochul met with public health experts after bird flu cases identified in New York City. All live bird markets in New York City metropolitan area have been closed.
And Trump is waging a war against paper straws and new executive order.
Bengals men basketball against Canton tonight at 7:30, women's at 5:30. 22 and mostly cloudy in Buffalo. Your news continues next in 60 seconds. Good afternoon. Here's what's happening. A former North Tonawanda police chief has announced that he will be running for mayor. Tom Krantz, a policeman of over 30 years with the department, announced his candidacy on Wednesday.
The intense winter weather conditions won't get any better this weekend, so be careful of those icy roads out there. Amherst PD has given people the following advice to drivers out there. First, slow down and give the car in front of you more space if you need to brake at any point. The slick roads will make it a little more difficult to brake quickly. Also, avoid sudden braking and sharp turns. Second, make sure you're giving yourself enough time to reach your destination. Finally, check local traffic before leaving the house. We'll have more on weather in your detailed fast-track weather forecast.
A grand jury in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, has indicted a New York doctor and her practice for prescribing abortion-inducing drugs, which is a felony in that state. This marks the first time that criminal charges have been filed against the doctor for sending abortion meds across state lines since the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022. Governor Hochul responded to the news with this statement.
Think about that. 5 years in prison simply because you upheld your oath. I must stand up and protect our doctors. And our doctors have this right to do this. The doctor's name was on the prescription bottle. That's what they were looking for, to identify this individual. After today, that will no longer happen. I'm about to sign another bill into law. Going forward, when a doctor, a provider, prescribes an FDA-approved medications like mifepristone and misoprostol to terminate a pregnancy, they're going to simply have the name of the healthcare practice on the label, rather than the name of the provider.
Now, here's today's Clock and Crime Report. Amherst PD have announced last week's crime statistics. APD responded to 937 calls, resulting in 43 arrests, including 1 related to a weapon and 6 related to drugs. Edvardi has more on that in a bit. In theft news, APD reported 0 robberies, 1 burglary, 30 instances of shoplifting. Finally, APD arrested 7 people for driving under the influence of alcohol and or drugs.
Out of the drug arrests by APD, one of them involved a passenger in an Uber who fell asleep. Well, turns out he wasn't just asleep, he was under the influence of fentanyl. APD says they observed a white substance under his nose and took him to Erie County Medical Center. Police say they also found 4 stolen debit cards on the suspect.
BPD is looking for Ava Orton, a 23-year-old white woman that's about 5'2", with brown hair, brown eyes, and 2 nose piercings. Ava was reported missing on January 4th. Police say she isn't known to have a car. People have reported seeing Ava frequently on Delaware Avenue. Anyone with information is encouraged to call 911.
And people are looking for Devon Parrott, a 16-year-old boy that's about 5'8", 145 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen on Friday in West Seneca. Anyone with information on his whereabouts should call 716-674-2280. Again, that's 716-674-2280.
If you rode on any buses in Buffalo this week, you might have noticed a place card on one of the seats towards the front of the bus saying, "In honor of Rosa Parks, the seat is reserved," to remember her legacy on Rosa Parks Day on February 4th.
Now for some follow-up stories, the North Tonawanda History Museum will be closed for the rest of this month to rework their exhibits. The museum will reopen on March 1st with a used book sale. For more information, visit the website at nthistorymuseum.com or call 716-213-0554.
Governor Hochul addressed the state's financial outlook during her announcement of the New York State budget, highlighting concerns over Medicaid funding growth. WBNY News' Adrian Mata.
Governor Kathy Hochul says Medicaid funding growth is unsustainable, requiring action from both the state and federal government. She emphasized the need to ensure all New Yorkers have access to quality health care, secure federal funding, and invest in safety net hospitals, all while implementing cost control measures. The governor also talked about the MTA's financial issues, stressing that sufficient capital funding is essential to maintaining and expanding public transportation. An updated capital plan is in the works, with funding covered for critical projects such as the 2nd Avenue subway extension and improvements to stations along the Metro North Railway. Infrastructure remains a major focus, with over 3,100 bridges and 2,300 miles of highways improved over the past year. Hochul's budget proposes an additional $1 billion for the DOT capital plan, bringing its total to $34.1 billion. Key projects include the replacement of I-81 in Syracuse, the Pearl Cross Bronx Expressway, and the Livingston Avenue Bridge. For the World Telegram News, I'm Adrian Mata.
And Governor Hochul is proposing restricting the use of smartphones and other electronics in classrooms across the state to create a distraction-free environment. Take a listen.
And that's why I'm so proud to propose in my budget a comprehensive new policy to make every single school, every single public school in the state of New York distraction-free. And we're going to make sure there are no smartphones, no watches, no tablets, no beeps or dings. And let's talk about it from the perspective of a teacher. But a recent poll showed that 72% of high school teachers across the nation said that cell phones were a major distraction for their students. None of you look really old, but I know that when you were students, you didn't have to deal with this. Your teachers didn't have to compete, did they? They're working so hard every day. And they shouldn't have to compete with a device that was never there when they went to school or their parents went to school. The fact that 95% of teenagers have a cell phone, and there's 250 notifications on average every day, that's 250 times the cell goes off, makes that noise, distracts you, pulls your attention, you don't know what it is.
Now, here's your community calendar spotlight. But first, this.
Hey folks, my name is John Renna from Renna Optical. Do you need glasses, sunglasses, or contacts? I have a wide range of frames for you to choose from. Just give me your prescription and you'll be all set. I also give discounts to students and veterans for up to 25% off. My hours fluctuate, so give me a call at 716-836-4670, or you can email me at Renna, O-R-E-N-N-A, optical, O-P-T-I-C-A-L @yahoo.com. Hey, let Renna Optical keep you in great optical health. You'll be glad you did. Thank you.
Looking for a fish fry? Looking for the Buffalo Flare? Stop by American Legion Post 1626, located at 3210 Genesee Street, Cheektowaga, New York 14225. Kitchen is open every Friday 4 to 8, fish fry, and a full menu, including live music every Friday 8 through 11 p.m. Best beverage prices and always open to the public. Check them out at Francis Donovan Post 1626, FRANCISDONOVAN POST 1626.com, or call 716-896-3346. Call 716-896-3346.
Now, here's what's happening in your community. Tonight, check out Orchids After Dark at the Buffalo Erie Botanical Gardens. Doors open at 6 and close at 9. It's located at 2655 South Park Avenue. Get tickets online at buffaloGardens.com/events/orchids-after-dark. For adults, tickets are $19. For seniors and students, it's $17. For kids under 13, it's $10, and kids 2 and under can get in for free. If you can't get in tonight, you can visit tomorrow at the same time. Again, visit buffalogardens.com/events/orchids-after-dark to get your tickets. Also happening tonight, the Harlem Globetrotters will be in Buffalo at the Key Bank Center at 7 o'clock. Prices range from $50 to $450 on Ticketmaster. Don't bring any bags, backpacks, or purses, though, because those are banned. Tomorrow, the AKG Museum is running a sip-and shop where more than 20 local shops will be selling their stuff. As the name entails, the Cornelia restaurant at the museum will be serving refreshments as you shop as well. The event is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. Finally, it's Daddy-Daughter Date Night at Chick-fil-A in Depew this Tuesday from 4 to 8 p.m. Activities include crafts, games, and activities, a photo booth, and of course food. It's located at 4942 Transit Road. More news continues after this break. World Telegram News Time, 4:25.
Now, the World News Recap from the World Telegram News.
I'm Edvardi Jackson, and here's what we're following. President Trump says he's interested in the U.S. taking control of Gaza to redevelop the region. Take a listen.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, will own it, and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East.
Of course, this would mean that the 2 million displaced Palestinians would have to find somewhere else to go, and Trump is urging Jordan and Egypt to take them in. Both countries said no. Still, Benjamin Netanyahu is supportive of the idea, saying President Trump is taking things to the next level.
President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future for that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism. I think it's something that could change history.
Last Monday, the M23 rebel group, reportedly supported by Rwanda, claimed to have seized control over Goma, a city in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Thousands of residents fled the area, but now we have more details about the situation in Goma coming from the United Nations. Hundreds of prisoners broke out of a prison in the city last Monday after M23 took control. The UN says those prisoners allegedly raped and burned over 100 female prisoners during the jailbreak. The UN adds that around 3,000 people have been killed in the rebel takeover. M23 has since called for a ceasefire, but BBC News reports that they've launched another offensive into Nibibwe on Wednesday. And 11 people are dead after a mass shooting at an adult education center in Sweden. Not much is known about the shooter at this time. The Prime Minister of Sweden responded to the news on social media, calling it a, quote, very painful day for all of Sweden. This happened on Wednesday. Your Fast Track weather forecast is up next. This is the World Telegram News.
This WTN News Update was brought to you in part by JFR Productions. For filming and video, call JFR Productions for your next project. Reach out to John Renna at jfrfilmproductions@gmail.com or call 716-261-0036.
Now here's the latest from the WTN News Fast Track Weather Center. Right now it's 23 degrees with cloudy skies. Tonight it'll be mostly cloudy with lows around 15 and winds between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow it'll stay mostly cloudy with light winds, but there's a 30% chance of snow in the afternoon. Highs will be in the upper 20s and reach 30 degrees at 3 p.m. Tomorrow's low is 18 degrees. Finally, on Sunday there's a good chance that we will see snow with highs in the upper 20s.
Connecting Western New York to the world. We are the World Telegram News Radio.
That does it for the half of the newscast. Coming up next, we'll give you the latest news and weather, plus a rundown of business and entertainment news. All that after the News Minute.
More people are listening to our program than ever. Let us know you're listening by sending us a message at WTN News on Instagram. World Telegram News Time at the tone, 4:29.
Moving at the speed of your news. This is the World Telegram News Radio on 91.3 FM.
I'm Ashton Renna.
And I'm Edvardi Jackson. Here's what we're following. A plane went down in Philadelphia just hours after we went off the air last week. We have the latest details.
Trump's sweeping executive orders to reform the federal government are facing challenges in the courts. We'll tell you more about that next.
Pam Bondi has been confirmed by the Senate as Attorney General, while RFK and Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation hearings advance.
100,000 eggs stolen from a truck in Pennsylvania. Now the DA has to crack the case.
And Edvardi, a music exec behind Murder Inc. Records, has died at 54 after multiple strokes in a battle with diabetes. Your weekly review on the news that matters to you. Right now, 23 degrees and cloudy. Once again, your news continues next in 60 seconds. Here's a recap of the headlines that we've covered so far. A former North Tonawanda police chief has announced his bid for mayor. His name is Tom Krantz, a policeman for over 30 years with the department. He announced his candidacy on Wednesday.
Amherst PD warning drivers since winter conditions are probably not going to get better for a while. We'll tell you more about their guidance during your Fast Check weather forecast.
Out of the drug-related arrests by APD this week, one of them involved a passenger in an Uber who fell asleep. Well, turns out he wasn't just asleep, he was under the influence of fentanyl. He was taken to ECMC.
And if you rode on any buses in Buffalo this week, you might have noticed a place card in one of the seats towards the front of the bus saying, "In honor of Rosa Parks, this seat is reserved to remember her legacy on Rosa Parks Day on February 4th. Sports news is next.
Now, sports from the World Telegram News.
In basketball, Luka Doncic was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers in exchange for forward Anthony Davis. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Blue Jackets with a score of 3-2 on Tuesday. They won their game against the Predators 4-3 last Friday, but they lost their game against the Edmonton Oilers on the 25th.
The Buffalo Bills were knocked out of the running for the championships after losing to the Chiefs 29-32 on Sunday, the 26th. Josh Allen and James Cook held it down with 2 touchdowns each, but a last-ditch field goal ended the close game by adding 3 points to the Chiefs. In related news, Josh Allen won NFL MVP for the Buffalo Bills.
In university sports, let's talk about men's basketball. They lost their game against New Paltz last Friday and their match against Oniota on Saturday, but caught a W against Mooresville in a makeup game. Remind me to never say that again. With a score of 82-75. Women's basketball won their game against New Paltz last Friday, but lost both of their games against Oniota and Mooresville. Both men's and women's basketball will be facing SUNY Canton later today, with another game happening tomorrow against Oswego.
Men's hockey won their last game against Mooresville 6-1 and face Canton and Oswego as well tonight and tomorrow. Women's hockey are against Mooresville tonight after losing both of their games to Oswego.
Now, here's what's happening in finance. So, in finance, a lot of blue chips are in the red today, including the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, S&P 500, Apple, Boeing, Berkshire Hathaway, Disney, and General Electric. Taking a zoom out, Nvidia stock is on the rebound after initial investor scares from the release of DeepSeek last week. Meanwhile, Amazon is the best it's been in the past 6 months. Apple stock saw a bit of a dip during the end of January, but they're also on the rebound at the time of this report. Now, let's talk about crypto. Bitcoin is down about 3% despite optimism in crypto spaces from President Trump's openness to crypto. Ethereum is also down 25% over the past month and 15% in the past 5 days alone. Why do I mention crypto? Well, Trump's company behind Truth Social has plans to start a crypto ETF according to new trademark filings. It was filed on Wednesday as Trump.fi Made in America ETF. Similar to investing in the S&P 500, this allows buyers to buy into crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum as if it were one single stock. Now, entertainment news.
And finally, in entertainment news, Edvardi, the music producer behind Murder Inc. Records, has died after complications from multiple strokes and a bout of diabetes, which forced him to change his diet a few years ago. Gotti worked with Ashanti, DMX, Ja Rule, and Ye, among others.
Surprise to absolutely nobody, Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us won both Best Record and Best Song at the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter won Best Country Album, making her the first black woman to get the award. Beyonce also won Best Album Award, but the best new artist this year was Chappelle Roan. Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet won Best Vocal Pop Album, and the Beatles Now and Then won the Best Rock Album Award.
Finally, we're on the 1 week away from Valentine's Day. If you like Legos, they got Lego roses on Amazon that are $14 on Amazon. You also could buy a Kodak digital camera for $90 or a huge pink teddy bear in 2 to 10 feet sizes. The 10-foot bear would cost $620 and probably will be a headache to get through the door too, but the option's there.
Now, most of us at the World Telegram News don't have a Valentine, so why not go out with us? Not literally, but follow us on social media. We'll give you news that breaks your heart slightly less than our competition. Anyway, World Telegram News time is 4:36.
Insane in aviation. Edvardi Jackson has the latest from our newsroom.
All 67 bodies from the mid-air airplane crash in D.C. have been recovered after a little over a week of searching. American Airlines Flight 5342, a flight from Kansas, was making its final approach to Reagan Airport when it collided with an Army helicopter practicing its course of action if government officials needed to evacuate the capital under the continuity of government plan. There were 3 people on the helicopter and 64 on the airplane. Air traffic control audio release shows that the helicopter requested separation from the airplane, which was approved by the controller. Just moments before the collision, the controller asked for confirmation that they could still see the airplane. The helicopter confirmed. Take a listen.
Pittsburgh has a trip in sight request visual separation. Pittsburgh approved. Pittsburgh has an aircraft in sight request visual separation.
This week, the NTSB started reviewing the black boxes involved in the wreckage. Here's a combined audio package of air traffic control, the NTSB, American Airlines' CEO, and President Trump's reaction.
I was reporting a CRJ helicopter crash into the Potomac River.
Officer advised there's a helicopter in the water been found by folks retrieving injured. They're looking for the aircraft at this moment.
Today is a devastating day for our American Airlines family. The heartbreaking accident of American Eagle Flight 5342 weighs heavily on our airline, the industry, and the world. I arrived in D.C. earlier today and have been in constant contact with our team, government officials, and first responders, and want to thank everyone who's given their time and compassion to supporting these efforts.
You need to give NTS, it's not that we don't have information. We do have information. We have data. We have substantial amounts of information. And so it will take time. We do have a lot of information, but we need some time to verify that.
And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won. But they actually came out with a directive to white. And we want the people that are competent.
This was the first major plane crash with a commercial jetliner in the U.S. since 2009. The wreckage was removed yesterday. Meanwhile, another plane crash happened just hours after we went off the air last Friday. At 6:30, a medical airplane transporting a girl who was being treated for a life-threatening sickness crashed not long after leaving the airport. The plane went down near Roosevelt Mall in northeast Philadelphia, which was reopened this Wednesday. 2 people, including a 10-year-old on the ground nearby, were killed. The plane, a Learjet 55 aircraft, was operated by MedJets on behalf of the Jet Rescue Air Ambulance Service, which was based in Mexico. It took off from North Philadelphia Airport with the goal of transporting the girl back to Mexico after her treatment from Shriners Children's, Philadelphia. Edvardi Jackson, the World Telegram News.
11 people are dead after a mass shooting at an adult education center, which is a school for adults who didn't go to school as kids. Not much is known about the shooter at this time. The Prime Minister of Sweden responded to the news on social media, calling it a very painful day for all of Sweden. This happened on Wednesday.
President Trump says he's interested in the U.S. taking control of Gaza to redevelop the region. Take a listen.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, will own it, and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East.
This means that 2 million displaced Gazans will have to find somewhere else to go, and Trump is urging Jordan and Egypt to take them in. Both countries said no, but Benjamin Netanyahu is supportive of the idea, saying President Trump is taking things to the next level.
And President Trump's executive order that will get rid of birthright citizenship, plus a plan to buy out federal jobs by Trump and Elon Musk, have been blocked by judges. Meanwhile, West Point, the military point, One's headquartered by George Washington is reported to be no longer offering specific clubs to minorities and women in response to President Trump's policies on diversity, equity, and inclusion. More news continues next after this break.
Breaking now from the World Telegram News.
Hello. So we have breaking news now. As we talked about earlier in the program, Donald Trump says he's going to be signing an executive order. He says on Truth Social, quote, "I will be signing an executive order next week ending the ridiculous Biden push for paper straws, which don't work. Back to plastic." That came just a few hours before we came on air. Now back to your commercial break. This is the World Telegram News. And here's Ashton Renna.
This is WBNY-FM 91.3, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. Brought to you by the Buffalo State University Student Activity Feed.
I'm going to riff for a bit because we have a little bit of time. I just want to let you know, after this is about our second show for this year, thank you so much for listening and supporting this program. All the people that contribute their reports, all the people that decide they want to shout out their businesses or local shops or anything on our platform. It's an honor that you choose our platform of all the other ones that you could have chosen. If you have any business, local idea, project that you want to promote, reach out to me. Reach out to me at Edvardi at Kir Media, EDVARDI at KIR.media, and we'll get back to you and make sure that you get a spot on this program, whether that's on an advertisement or just by you coming into the studio and talking about what you do. We love supporting passionate people. I'm passionate about news, and I want to hear what you're passionate about, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, WTN News is in more places than our independent competition. Give us a try on demand with WTN News Audio wherever you get your podcasts. Or follow us on social media. We're at Telegram World on TikTok and X, or at WTN News on Instagram and Facebook. By the way, more people are getting their news from us than ever. Let us know you're listening by emailing me once again at Edvardi at Kir.media. That's EDVARDI at KIR.media. Thank you so much for supporting this program. I'm Edvardi Jackson.
And I'm Ashton Renna. Have a good weekend, everyone.
World Telegram News time is 4:47.
WBNY, Buffalo.